last year and this year with the tight end versatility, what that does to defenses.
Well, I think they fell into the quarterback thing, number one.
Right, sure.
That was huge.
Can't.
And I think I do think the versatility of their tight ends put certain pressure on the defense all the time because they're both they're very competent blockers and receivers. They're talented at both. Their wideouts are generally big guys that make a lot of contested catches. And so, they developed and came into a big back. So, a lot of the stars aligned the correct way, and Coach Winningham's done a tremendous job of putting those, and Andy, the offensive coordinator, putting all those pieces together.
Part of the reason I ask, I guess, is because this team has as many scholarship tight ends as wide receivers, not a lot of returning experience, production at the wide receiver position, and some versatility, Jalen Conyers and Cy Swinson. So what do you think that enables Glenn and the offense to do?
Well, I think obviously the tight end has always been a great friend of a quarterback. It's generally they're tighter throws and more impactful throws. Throws that help you keep drives alive and first downs, and they can be big targets in scoring areas and so forth. And with the wide receiver group now being able to, the addition of the speed that we were able to add will be helpful to create some more opportunities down the field, which is really good.
And so when you guys are building your defensive package, you and Donnie talked about kind of what you guys are doing. You have to be adaptive, of course, to whatever team you're playing. But what are the challenges associated with that? Of how much nickel, when you're going to bring, when you guys are going to be in your base stuff, and relative to what the versatility of some of these teams that you see on offense?
Well, I think that's something that gets unfolded every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, because unfortunately no one sends us a heads up and say, hey, we're going to play this personnel 70% of the time or whatever it's going to be. You know what I mean? You've got to kind of adapt to that and understand going in. Defensively, you've got to be able to play all different offensive personnels and be prepared for them. From Utah with 3 tight ends to 3 and 4 wideouts. So, their ability to do both. So I think that's what adds to the versatility of what they do offensively, and they have playmakers in those areas, which makes them a more effective offense.
How much tougher is that in college when you don't have as much talent on the field and you have to kind of recruit? You have the wider hashes, and maybe that creates some different challenges. I don't know, with guys defending in space or what have you.
I don't know that the hashes are a big deal.
Okay.
Because you don't have many quarterbacks that can reach the field. So I don't know that plays as much into it as people think.
Okay.
But I do think the one thing, the difference is when you have a larger roster, you're not quite sure what personnel you can get. You can get them all. If you're in the NFL with 46, 47 guys on Sunday, they kind of get limited to where they're going to be. You're going to have a little better idea.
Sure.
Are they a team that carries a 3rd tight end or a 4th tight end? Do they carry, And then how much has this guy ever played and been involved? Where college, you see new guys out there every week.
It makes game prep easier at the NFL in some ways.
In some ways, yeah. Because, you see guys who bubble up and all of a sudden that guy's playing and he hasn't played any snaps all year. Now he's the 4th wideout, so I think there's a lot more change from week to week in college football than you get, particularly, because just like the earlier conversation everybody was having is, more and more because of the transfer portal and so forth, you have young guys, you're going to get them on the field. I mean, you have to show them an opportunity they're going to play, or else they're going to be standing on somebody else's sideline the next year. Now, they probably got their thumb in their mouth pouting because they're probably not playing there either. But that's just part of the deal. You're going to have to continue to cultivate your guys and bring them on all the time.
When you have so many newcomers, transfers that you're going to count on right away, what are some of the keys in quickly assimilating that?
Yeah, that's the challenge that Glenn's got to go through offensively. Is really being able to immerse these guys within the offense and figure out what they can, what are their best traits. We know what we saw on tape but do they bear out here on the practice fields? And that'll be a good the opportunity. Kind of have the same thing with the two cornerbacks over on defense, and the two kids have got experience. So. But we also have, guys like R.J. Reagan didn't get to play last year much, that are back now and competing and so forth. So that'll be good.
You like RJ as a safety?
Well, he's back at corner. He's been at corner all. He didn't participate really in spring because of the surgery, but he was, he's at corner.
I'm trying to think what else I'd like to ask you, because when you reflect on last year, kind of the way that the team handled adversity, like at Utah, where things not going right, BYU, turning the ball over at the outset of Washington State. Is there anything that you kind of saw thematic in that could be addressed through an off season? People talk about the leadership council being a big deal this year, and maybe even a more of a together team that can maybe handle some of that stuff better.
Well, I think you got everybody kind of singing out the same hymnal, which is good. And a lot of times, the thing about turnovers and so forth, if people take responsibility and they fix it, then it usually goes away. But when people don't want to take responsibility and want to point fingers and blame others, then you got an issue. And hopefully we've cleared all that out the building. And that's a good thing. And because if you don't take care of the ball on offense, I don't care how good you are, you're going to have a very hard time winning. I mean, it's proven on every level.
Yeah, and minimizing penalties, especially the procedural.
The procedure penalties and things like that, and having a plan going in for those things and so forth. Coaches, he's been on that all spring. He was on it all fall, but it still tripped us up in games. And in the springtime, they did a better job of it, and you got to continue to take that forward through fall camp and into the games, because you can't kill yourself with procedure penalties and the ball's not even snapped, things like that. So those are the things, and you got to minimize that. There's going to be some of that. It's some at every level, but you got to minimize it and then also be able to overcome it and strong enough to overcome it.